not for me. I smoke weed regularly and tried both acid and salvia. Although both didn't really have a big effect on me, I didn't get any effect from salvia at all, so I just suppose the psychedelics do not work properly on me for whatever reason. However, I'm always trying to broaden my mind with any drugs I can get my hands on to see whether something will actually work someday. Since I heard of the psychedelics effect of nutmeg from various sources, I was curious whether this would give me something. So one evening, after a few joints with friends, about 4 joints, but weed funnily enough affects me very strongly, I was really big and alone in my apartment and end up thinking that taking the whole bag of nutmeg, which I actually had in my kitchen for cooking, might be a good idea. It was about 2 o'clock in the morning, so I thought I would take the nutmeg, enjoy the trip for 1 or 2 hours, and then go to sleep. What a stupid stoned idea. The nutmeg was already grated and there was about 18 grams in the bag. I decided to do some research on the internet first, but couldn't find anything on the right dosage. I found a few threads where it said that you had to take a few ounces, so I decided to just chug the whole bag down. In retrospect, this is very irresponsible and I will never do something like this again, but at the time it sounded reasonable in my head. To cover up the bitter taste of the nutmeg, I mixed it with half a cup of soy milk. After taking the first gulp, I wanted to puke. However, I forced myself to drink the whole rest in one go, which was a good idea because with the soy milk, the bitterness only came as aftertaste. After some times, approximately 10 minutes, I felt like the weed high was getting stronger. I felt more relaxed and very lightheaded, but also my stomach hurt and I felt sick all the time. However, decided not to make myself throw up. Then my vision became blurry and I got very sleepy. My eyes couldn't focus on anything. Every item in the room looked like it was some sort of liquid, not a fixed shape, but constantly changing shape slightly when I looked at it. I was starting to feel very disconnected from the world and my own body. I realized that I was starting to get paranoid, not scared of anything in particular, but just scared in general. It was starting to become a really unpleasant high. I tried to read a book, but it was impossible, so I was watching TV. For some reason, I did not think of listening to music, but decided to go to bed instead. At least, that's all I remember. The next day, I woke up feeling like I had the worst hangover of all times. My stomach hurt me like it was trying to kill me. Every time I was standing, I lost sight, like, when you get up too quickly and don't see anything for a few moments, feeling extremely dizzy. I tried to look up on the internet what the lethal dose of nutmeg was, and after finding that, I had decided I had definitely not reached that. I got a bit more relaxed. I wrote to my friends on Facebook who I had planned on meeting that day that I was not feeling well, writing was difficult, my eyes were still not focusing properly. Then I made myself throw up, which really didn't help. I drank lots of water and ate something, but the stomach pain didn't go away. Moreover, my head felt like my brain was just too big, pressing against my skull from the inside. My head was also very hot, like I had a fever. Very unpleasant. I laid down back in bed with some tea and tried to sleep through the whole thing until I was feeling physical and mentally better. Then the real paranoia started. It was about 12 hours after I had taken the nutmeg, and I had read on the web that the trip could last up to 3 days. I was really tired all afternoon, constantly slipping out and in of sleep. When I was awake, my heart often started pounding like mad and randomly body parts started hurting, making me think that I was going to have a heart attack. I tried to mentally control my heartbeat to get it down to a lower pace, which luckily worked a bit. I was starting to accept that I was going to die. I was really not in a logical, responsible state of mind. I started imagining what my friends would do at my funeral and stuff. My chest and back hurt. My heart was beating way too fast. For some reason, I began focusing on my breathing, and I got so afraid that I would just stop breathing if I didn't constantly focus on it, and I actually just thought, in, out, for about quarter of an hour, or maybe it was just a few seconds. I don't know. Time didn't really run normally. I tried desperately not to fall asleep since I was so sure that I was not going to wake up again if I did. After time though, I fell asleep after I had assured myself with the small rest of logic I had left that I did not take enough nutmeg to die from it. For hours, I was constantly slipping in and out of sleep until I managed to sleep through a little while. I woke up at 7 in the evening feeling a bit better, meaning that my heart was not racing anymore and my mind felt a bit more in this world. I managed to keep myself from getting scared that I might not escape this state of mind anymore because I knew how paranoid I would get then. I met up with my friends. Luckily, I didn't have to leave the house and smoked a joint with them, which helped a bit against the pain. The whole trip wasn't completely over until about 3 days after, and even after 4 days, I still got a funny visual where I looked at the ground and the stones looked like they were all underwater. But I was at least able to enjoy that because I was not in pain anymore. I felt sick and dizzy for about 3 days after taking the stuff. Now, 1 week later, I'm still feeling a bit weird. I feel like I cut a few strings that connected me to this world and this reality. I'm constantly restless and I get emotional way easier than I did before. I also feel depressed at random times and without particular reason, which did happen to me before, but not as frequently. I also find it slightly harder to focus on things with my thoughts. I'm pretty sure though that I'm gradually getting back to normal again. I don't think I will ever take this stuff again, and if I do, only under supervision. I regret sleeping through most of the trip, but I know that it would not have been pleasant if I had been awake. I also wish I can remember more of what I felt and saw while I was on it, but it was very hard because I was half sleeping most of the time. The whole thing just feels like a dream in my memory, like I had dreamt for 3 days straight.